When we take the example of Winston Churchill, he proved as a wartime hero. He led United Kingdom and other allied forces to victory during the Second World War when the world demanded his services. He was a great hope to the world when the world was about to be overtaken by Germany and other Axis forces. Churchill was persistent and hopeful about victory. He inspired, showed the direction, led from the front, and achieved victory. Unfortunately, same Churchill failed to win at home during the peacetime. It is obvious that expectations and aspirations of the people change, and hence the leadership changes. At the same time, leaders must also change with the prevailing ground realities and adapt quickly to reinvent themselves. Warren Bennis unveiled that adaptability is essential for leadership effectiveness and success. Leaders must change quickly to adapt to new contexts to stay relevant to ensure longevity. The leaders and CEOs must take time off from their busy schedules to undergo executive coaching to change their behavior to improve organizational bottom lines. One behavioral change in a CEO can bring out drastic improvement in the organizational bottom lines. Hence, leaders and CEOs must undergo executive coaching to stay relevant and successful. Executive coaching for CEOs. Now we will talk about it. Most chief executives lead from the front based on their past experiences, observation and learning, but rarely do they avail opportunities to learn from executive coaches who are specialists in executive coaching. They don't realize their blind spots but lead their organization just because they were successful in the past and were appointed as chief executives. Does it work for them? Does it enhance their leadership effectiveness? Globally, the business climate is changing rapidly and the chief executives are busy with corporate firefighting. If they are made aware of their blind spot, they can enhance their leadership effectiveness. But who will enlighten them? It is the executive coaches who can play a crucial role to bring out the desired behavioral improvement in chief executives to accomplish their objectives. Apart from the retirement of CEOs who are mostly baby boomers, there is a decreased rate of longevity of chief executives globally, which is a cause for concern. According to Harvard Business Review, 2 out of 5 new CEOs fail in their first 18 months on the job. Hence, there is an urgent need to keep fresh talent ready through executive coaching in the senior leadership position to avoid any kind of organizational eventuality. Now, I will discuss about inspiring women to excel as CEOs. Unfortunately, women are not being encouraged into leadership roles and responsibilities, and it's very sad to note. And it's time for us to encourage women to become leaders. If we start encouraging now, hopefully, in the near future, we will have more women leaders, and we can have better society. Swami Vivekananda once remarked, "There is no chance of the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. It's not possible for a bird to fly on one unless the condition of women is improved." Swami Vivekananda once remarked, "There is no chance of the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. It's not possible for a bird fly on one wing." So that means bird needs 2 wings to fly. So that means the society needs the cooperation from both women and men to grow fast. So that's what he implied. Besides, the research shows that there is a gender gap prevailing in organizations globally, and it's more in Indian companies where the female CEOs are a few in percentage. There are various reasons for this challenge. Firstly, there is a perception towards women as there is much more tendency to take something that has gone wrong and generalize it. When a man does something stupid, people say, "I'm not going to hire him again." When a woman does something stupid, people say, "I'm never going to hire a woman again." Secondly, there is a prevalence of a glass ceiling where women are not allowed to rise on par with men at each level of management. It's more acute in senior level management. Mostly the glass ceiling is not seen but felt. Thirdly, women are still considered weaker sex who can't make decisions effectively. Therefore, it is essential to break these barriers. In fact, women are symbol of patience, virtue, kindness, tolerance, flexibility, and forgiveness. They are good at emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and assertiveness. Above all, they are good at soft skills. They think coolly and logically to make decisions. Hence, their success rate is higher than men. Eleanor Roosevelt once remarked, "A woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her into hot water." Now I will discuss about building women CEOs in India. Indian women must occupy top management space, especially C-suite positions and CEOs. There are ample opportunities for everyone. In fact, gender is not a major issue. Indian women must demonstrate fire in their bellies to break the so-called glass ceiling to make it big. They must realize that everything comes at a cost. There is no free lunch in this world. Opportunities will not be thrown at them. On the other hand, they must explore and grab the opportunities to lead from the front. You can't find women leaders in C-suite and CEO positions in overnight. The initiative must start at the lower level of management. If right steps are taken now, we can expect more women leaders in future. Hence, there is an urgent need to encourage women leaders at the lower level management. Let's move on to slide 8 and 9. In both the slides, I would differentiate between Indian and Chinese CEOs.